The whole idea of this template is that it's made for ease, to speed up your workflow so you can get your ideas out of your head and onto the page very quickly. What's up, gang? Welcome to another video. I'm Will. I also make music under Hushchild, and this is inspired by a series where we delve into a particular area of production, hunker down together and just pray that the year 2020 doesn't turn into a zombie apocalypse. We've taken a slight detour lately, and in the last video what I wanted to do was show you how I make my tracks so quickly and with ease, using a handy template that I've created for you guys to download in the comments below. Side note, if you haven't yet watched that video, take a mosey on over there, waltz down into the comment section after and let me know how I wasted your time. So I call this the gas template. For too many years I've been trying to make the perfect song, so I created this template to speed things up, and now cooking on gas. So in this video what I'm going to do is show you exactly how it works, the ins and outs of the template. Basically what I've done is created a set of ready mills along the top there, which you can see are kind of my go-to instruments. I've also got some hidden racks running and made a couple of little tweaks to Ableton so it works better for the user. But it's important to note that I am also using some MIDI controllers, so I am actually going to show you around the space that I work for the first time. It's a functioning space, I move it around a lot. It's not the prettiest looking studio, this isn't an NZ video. But please don't be put off. If you download the template, this can easily be mapped to what you're using, or it can be used standalone. So let's jump into it. On the first track, what you'll see is a set of drum groups. I've named these just so I remember kind of what they sound like. So what this clip is triggering is actually a chain selector. And as I trigger each of these clips, it will trigger a different drum rack, and that will give me a different selection of sounds that I generally go for inside my template. This particular lo-fi clip is made up of samples from my Hushchild sample pack that you can also download. Loads of Foley sounds, lots of one-shots. I think there's about 150 plus sounds in there. To go back, I mentioned it's also triggering the 16-beat phrase as well. So if we go inside, what it's actually doing is looping a 4-bar pattern. So you can just hit the overdub button and then program a drum beat in straight away. To the right of that, I've created 2 melodic families. And inside those groups, I've just got my go-to instruments that I tend to use a lot. The same goes for the group here, where I've selected an assortment of pads as well. Got this new light and it's driving me insane because I look pasty as fuck and there's always going to be a glare on my glasses. Now you can see that the bass group is looking a little bit different, and the reason for that is it's showing I've got some samples in there as well. So it's all the same. I've got some bass patches that I tend to use a lot, but on the end here I've got a selection of 808s. And when I've found the one I like, I can double click on the 808 sampler and then just drag that straight over. Just before my loop section, I have an instance of Simpler. This is really nice if we have a chop, a sample that we want to cut up and play around on the keys. And that's how I went about creating the This Is All Mouth sample that we chopped up from last video. Easy guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt my own episode with more of my ramblings, but if you're enjoying this video, let's start having a conversation. Leave a comment below, let me know what you want to see in next week's video. Let me know what you're enjoying about this series and what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. I've just set up a Patreon and you can go there, download more plugins, presets, sample packs, goodies. You can organize a one-to-one production tutorial and get loads of bonus content from the show as well. Apparently we're just going to call this a show now. If Patreon isn't really for you, but you'd still like to support the show, I've added a coffee link too, where you can top me up with more caffeine and I can keep rambling on for longer. It is much, much, much appreciated. Check the description below for all that good stuff and I'll let you carry on with the episode. And what we're left with is drum loops, texture loops, and ambient loops. But I can dabble through these different flavors and get the right feel for my song from the get-go. Where's the fucking glare on my glasses? Wow! So let's take a second to jump inside the groups. What I've done is created an effects rack, and then again, they're just my go-to effects that I normally use on any given instrument. Again, I'm aware that not everybody has the same plugins that I do, so I've swapped the Fab filters and the Valhallas for the Ableton stock plugins, which work perfectly fine. Now, I'm a super tactile producer. I like to feel and control the music as it's going along. I'm not really into jumping into the piano roll and pointing and clicking the notes that I want in there. If that's for you, then it's cool. There's no shade there. It's just not really what I'm into. So you'll see on the MIDI mapping pane, I've actually got quite a bit going on. And this is essentially controlling all my MIDI elements. So I actually have the last effects in my rack switched on, and that's linked to the first 8 knobs on my Novation launch key. And this is actually a DJM filter, which is a Max for Live plugin, which again, I'll leave in the description below. Super handy, and I just like the warmth and vibe that it gives better than just low passing or high passing on the EQ. The MPD26 of course already links to the first 6 of my channels, so I just made sure that in MIDI mapping they're actually stopping at 0 dB rather than +6. Then we get down to the Novation Launch Control. This is actually one of the first little toys that I bought, and then I just didn't use it for years. So what I've done is to make sure that this Novation MIDI device actually controls the sends A and B, as opposed to how it would normally work with controlling the volume and the pan. In this instance, it's firstly controlling the reverb, and then on B, it's controlling the delay. And then I have the bottom 8 pads controlling the on and off functions of the first 8 instruments. This makes it really easy for me to record into the arrange page exactly how I want the structure of my song to sound. You may have also noticed that as I flick through these channels, the arm function automatically comes on. That's because, again, coming from Logic, I was tired of selecting an instrument in Ableton, realizing that it didn't have any sound, and then being like, right, why is that? The volume's up, oh okay, it's the arm function. It seemed like a bit of a no-brainer here. So I just made sure, I just typed in a couple of functions to make sure that when I select an instrument in this template, it arms itself automatically and it's ready to be recorded. Thanks for watching, guys. As I said in the video, if you enjoyed what you saw here, but you don't want to go about creating it yourself, I have left a link below where you can download this template. I finally listed all the gear that I use, so if you're looking for a new toy or a new piece of hardware for the studio, then I've tried to link it to the most reasonable price below. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.